Welcome back, friends. Big news on 1.4 today. This stream, in my opinion, is absolutely their strongest stream. Now, if you missed it or you didn't have the chance to watch it, it's a little bit over an hour long, so I'm going to summarize that with no real fluff here today in just a few minutes. Also important, it'll come towards the end of this video, but there's a giveaway if you're a US-based resident, and it works for two different things. One, it can give me a copy of Yumi, so Phoebe, our new character, and two, it can give you free platinum tickets and millicoins. So stick around to the end so you can see how you can enter that giveaway, and let's just get right into this. So you see on my screen here, these are the summaries of the features for 1.4. We have a new feature in Mindscape. This is what I've been calling mental image for if you've seen any of my character guides. There is a new trial type, which we're going to talk about, of course. They're adding routes to Metro of Desire. We've got the new Phantom who comes out tomorrow, and a new synergy that you're going to be excited about. So let's skim through here, and let's just get right into the details. So the first thing I want to show you is mental image. So that is this here. This is what it will look like in our GUI. Now, obviously, depending on where you live, you'll have different languages. But what they're opening and unlocking is this top path up here. So where you see this kind of outer ring, the inner ring will come later. Now, this feature is coming super early. This is a big win for us. This came out in the patch 3.0 series for the other servers. And basically, this came with a whole nother content type called Astrolab. And what they're doing is they're giving us this upper path, which gives us little stars that you basically use to unlock these added stats. It's not like significant amount of stats. The really biggest things are on the inner path, but it's giving us a head start into more stats, more power, more HP, more defense, all the different things that help your characters perform better. The inner path will come later when they release Astrolab. Now, with how early they're giving us so many different features right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Astrolab is before 3.0, but it's hard to say. We just don't know yet. Now, as far as the resources, the way that you're going to get the little stardust that you need for this is, let me just pull it up here. It's going to be within your Velvet Trials. So in Velvet Trials, I think I need to back up just a little bit here. In Velvet Trials, there's going to be a new icon here. And the way that this operates, it's based on how many stars you've completed. And basically every day you click on this and however many stars you had will give you a reward based on that level. So you can see here, if you only have 21 stars, you get 14 Stardust, and it just goes up and up and up. So this really is asking you to complete your Velvet Trials to the best of your abilities. Now, I get Velvet Trials are harder and global. That was one of the changes that I'm hoping that they one day revert. But nonetheless, it is based on how many stars you happen to have. Now, something they didn't talk about, so I don't know if this is going to be the same or not, is this system opened at level 70 for Wonder in the other servers. I don't know if they're going to open this lower path before level 70. I didn't see... Oh, actually, I say that, and it says if you already reached level 55, so they're opening at level 55. I stand corrected. It's literally on my screen. I need to learn how to read. So at level 55, this is when you open this path. So good news there because it was level 70 in the other servers. So they're opening it early at a lower level, and you're going to get a lot of these stars in advance of what the other servers got. So yes, it's another thing that you're basically farming out, but it means that you're going to get more power earlier. This, to me, massive W. Was not expecting this to be the feature that launched, basically tomorrow after maintenance. So look out for that. So that's the first piece. Here's their little summary, basically saying exactly what I said. And on the character screen, you're going to see it says Mindscape. So I've been calling it mental image because that's what we call it in the other servers, but they're going to call it Mindscape. As far as these outer stars, they're not as resource limited as your inner levels. Your inner levels, you're definitely going to want to make priorities around your characters. You hear me talk about that in the guides. Generally speaking, you're going to prioritize things like your DPS first. Maybe things like Cord if you get her because you use her all the time. But on the outer, you can be a little bit more free, but I would still prioritize your DPS, from my perspective. That's how I would look at that. I'll make a mental image guide separately at another point in time. All right, so the next piece they have is our new event. Now, this event here is basically two different bosses, and I actually really like this one because it functions off of as you go through the trial and unlock difficulties, you also unlock different kind of modifiers. So think about like the Metro, how you can have different types of modifiers, but this is specific to the boss. And so if I can find a screen in here, let's look. Yeah, so here we go. So basically, as you beat the earlier stages, and honestly, the first few levels of this are super easy. You can just auto battle through them. You can do things that, maybe give the enemy more defense, more damage. You can turn off certain things like certain synergy types. Like you can disable, I don't know, like support characters, or, you can have it where there's like a turn limit. And the way that it works is getting through the various levels to get your max kind of gem rewards and things like that is not that hard. I think that if you come in here and you just, basically auto the easier stages. Let me see if I can find the actual reward. Here we go. So if you just go through kind of the basic levels, a lot of them you can auto battle through. You're going to get things like, Kampaku gems, the meta gems, and the I want to say Joy-Cons like Switch. Joy coins, which are what are used to buy like the weapons, the new weapons in the shop for Wonder. And so go in there early, make sure you're knocking this out. But basically within the actual battle, when you go into the fight, what they give you is this cool little button. Let me see if I can get the right screenshot here. This box down here means that you can borrow some team members. So the example that they showed is it gave them Yui. So you can see it right here. Do you see this little icon? This is a guest character. So if you don't have like the preferred unit, for most of the stages, you can actually borrow their trial unit. So it's a good way to, one, get to play characters you may not have, but two, go through the battle. And it's funny because they actually auto battled this when they showed it, and their Wonder needs some real work. Like, how are you on an A6 Joker with a level 25 Yanasek? That's just embarrassing, and a 4-star weapon. But that tells you how easily you can kind of auto battle through some of this. So when it gets to the higher stages, this can get really difficult. The good news is that to get the final rewards, you don't have to get that far through it. After that, it's just basically badges. So it's like the stuff that you can show off on your character profile. I'll be going for it. And on stream, I'm going to look at having the audience, the chat, actually pick out my modifiers and seeing if I can beat it within reason. I can tell you if you pick every modifier, like you're going to have to be a whale to get through the whole thing. But this is a really cool feature. A warning I'm going to give you is on other servers, if I remember correctly, it functioned kind of like the current bosses where some is opened up for a certain amount of time and then it switches to the other boss. That's not how their GUI looks, so hopefully that's not the case, but I seem to remember that on the other servers. I could just be misremembering. But when this comes out here tomorrow, I want you to go into this feature and make sure that they're not time gated. If they're time gated, get her done, okay? But great feature, lots of rewards to come. You get Joy coins, not Joy-Cons. And I'll make separate guides for this as I actually play this mode. So that was the next piece there. Metro gets updated. We get our second path. So you're going to have more of the kind of achievement type gems you can get for, maybe beating with mono teams. You're going to have more gem rewards because you have new sets to get through. Basically, this functions just like the Metro did before. It's just a new route. They did not mention resetting the levels. I don't recall them resetting the Metro levels. I just recall them adding to it. And so like right now you can get up to level 180 for your max level. But this looks good. It'll be more stuff for you to kind of grind out between now and the new content patch that comes out in September. So it'll kind of fill that gap a little bit. But more rewards is never a bad thing. And then we moved into a really cool content preview for Yumi, Phoebe. This is our new banner. They've been, showing this on Twitter. We all knew this was coming. And so I'm not going to show their preview here on mine, but it's around the 30 odd minute mark. So I would recommend going and checking it out or checking out their X Twitter feed. It's a super cool looking preview. I love the animation styles they've been doing for this, so you can kind of see like the quality here. Super cool. Go check it out. This is her persona. All right. And they did detail out Phoebe's buffs, which is fantastic. I love that they're showing it this way. And I'm going to back up and talk about something else related. But basically the things that they gave her, A0, instead of restoring 6 SP when using a skill, it's 8. So a couple extra SP points. And then A1, the following effect has been added. One cocktail will be upgraded when activating Tempting Build or Invigorating Blend. That's another just flat buff. The A6 is really nice, but I think most people are not going to be sitting on an A6 Phoebe anytime in the near future unless you're whaling. But it's basically just increasing the value of the multipliers for your different skills from the 120, 150 to 135, 120, 75 respectively, which is honestly really good. And then on the skills, so your skill 1, instead of being an 8% attack multiplier, goes up to 8.7. Seems small, but that adds up. That does give more power. And it's instead of 250 of Yumi's attack, it's 230. So you get there faster. It's easier to ramp up this damage buff. And then for skill 3, this one is pretty huge. Same thing, the 250 down to 230, so you get there faster, but they're adding increased critical damage, and it can go up to 20%. Of all her buffs, I think this is possibly her best one. It's not to the point that I think you should like change all of your pull plans. It's a really nice additional, and if you're going for like super high scores in the different trial modes, this is pretty good. This is really good. This is definitely going to help you there. So a really good update, but not like character defining, now you have to pull for the meta kind of a situation. Her 5-star weapon also got a really nice unexpected buff. This piece here, when 2 cocktails are gained, the cooldown time reduction is reduced. That used to be a chance, and you had to get your weapon all the way forged up to get it 100%. Now it's just always 100%. This is, for the 5-star weapon, really good, and it just makes the value of getting her 5-star weapon that much better. So a weapon to put on your consolation prizes if you're not whaling out for sure, or to eventually get with your blue coin tokens if you've been collecting those. So really good stuff. They also, if I back up a little bit here, they gave a I guess, detail as to how they are buffing characters or why they are buffing characters for the global servers. I just have to find the actual slide. And so basically I can sum this up as they are giving us early buffs so that we can use more team party compositions. Think about Queen, like now she can apply elements on skill 1. And so it makes her less reliant on Vino. And they're trying to do it earlier so we have more time to enjoy these different characters and we're not just like instantly benching them because we heard the meta is XYZ character. So this also tells me I would expect there to be more changes going forward for more characters as they come up. I'm really excited to see like what they do with some of our favorites and to see what kind of, game-changing experiences we can get. So they're communicating well here. They're really telling us what's going on, which I think is fantastic. And then they kind of go into a bit of the characters they already buffed. Now, something to note here, as far as I can tell, they are just stating what they did for Makoto, but they might have made a little bit of a typo. So this says increase Makoto's attack for 2 turns to 3 turns. This was up to 2 turns is what it is in the game. Everything else is what it was when she launched for us. And so what I'm hearing from, data miners and such is that this is probably just a typo. We'll double check when the patch comes out to see if she actually gained an even greater buff, but keep your eyes on it. If you have her, just check in the GUI once the patch comes out to see if it's 3 turns or 2. But I believe they just meant to intend to say what her buffs already were. So there's that. And then they talked a little bit about how they had buffed Lufel, which is already in-game. So this is basically him afflicting burn, and then how they buffed Riddle at the start of the game. Now, I still don't think Riddle's great, but ultimately in here, this just means that her highlight was easier to use, and it's a different mechanic. I forget what they call it, but this is already in game as far as I can tell. I don't think this is a new buff, but as always, I'll check the patch notes and let you know if something's changed. So they're buffing characters, they're doing it sooner. They're giving us all sorts of, good ways to play characters differently than we had before. As far as synergies, we get the synergy story updates for Yumi. So those of you that have been pushing her, you've got a chance to, potentially romance her if that's your cup of tea. And Cord, Ayaka, her thing is coming early. So this is ahead of when we got it in other servers. You can start her confidant early. It seems like that's a common thing they've been doing. So again, you're getting something earlier than before, which is really the common theme for a lot of what they're doing. I'm not going to go into like the actual previews of her. We do get new songs with her. She's tied very heavily into the band and how you play your songs. It makes certain things easier. So if you like playing the band, or maybe you don't, you just want it to be easier, she's a good confidant for that. Let's see what else. And this is just a recap. So everything we just talked about. The last couple pieces here, they do a brief note that they're still trying to catch up our server with the other servers. So in 2.0, which is in a couple weeks, we get chapter 3. They say that they're going to detail how they're speeding things up a little bit later. They don't give us any specific details, but they are, I think, getting ready to give us some really strong details, which I can't wait for. As always with these updates, we get 600 meta gems, so look forward to that. We are getting an early release of Makoto's swimwear. So this is a paid outfit, kind of like the butler suits or wonder suit that I'm wearing in my version of the game right now. And so this just hit the other servers. So if this is your style and you want to get it, this will be coming out with this summer update. This is late September, so it's not coming in this patch, but just another example of this giving us something early. And then finally, let me find the giveaway. You know what, it's easier for me to just pull up on Twitter, so here you go. So the way this works, to be eligible to win, you have to be in the US. Unfortunately, this does not extend to other regions. All the same though, basically, I'm going to upload this video. I'm going to cross-post it on X with a certain hashtag, this P5X creator. And if I get the most votes, or one of the top 5, people that get the most votes, I will get a free copy of Yumi, which honestly would be fantastic. So I'm asking for your help kindly. And to do that, for you to vote, you have to quote, repost the tweet that I make, and then add the hashtag P5X creator vote. So this down here. And there's 5 random winners that will get platinum tickets and platinum Milo coins. So you got a chance to win something as well. So my friends, I ask of you politely, if you could please help me out with this Twitter campaign. My Twitter is at the16bitbear, pretty easy to find, and I'll put it in the description of the video. So I'd love for you to help me out on winning Yumi. But that's it. That's the live stream, an hour summed up in, I don't know, less than a half an hour, so half the time. But in any case, really big W. We're getting early features. Mental image is huge. Good buffs to Yumi. Early confidants for Cord. And we've got the Metro update, so a good amount of content that we can do. They did not mention specifically if we're getting the increased rewards for working side jobs, but I did notice on their screen a couple extra icons in the event screen. So who knows? I mean, that could just be a dev build thing. I don't really know, but keep your eyes out. There's nothing saying they won't add some other things, but at least with what we got, I think this was an absolute great stream. It was more concise, even though it was an hour long, and honestly, just really good content. So look forward to it. And my friends, into our next live stream, which by the way will be the Phoebe pool stream in a couple days, or into our next video, please take care of yourselves.